Okay, at this time, we will ask each candidate, starting with Mr. Levnow. Each candidate will now have 2 minutes to make a closing statement.
It's been an honor to represent the citizens of Campbell County in the Wyoming legislature. It's an honor my family and I take very, very seriously. For 6 years, I've worked to be fiscally responsible and accountable as a legislator. Wyoming is not the way it is by accident. And I've carried that message to everybody who will listen to me. Our fiscal responsibility, philosophy of limited government, and protecting individual rights are the keystones to Wyoming's success. If bureaucrats east of the Mississippi would stay home and let us manage our state as we know best, then things would be just fine. I've become a legislative expert on energy issues, and I've worked to stay ahead of the federal government, because once you get behind them, you end up in court for years and years and years. And I'm not going to mess around with people's livelihoods and people's jobs, picking fights in court that we don't win because they go on and on forever. So the key is to stay ahead of it, and I've been pretty successful doing that. I've also worked on keeping our economy thriving by keeping regulation out of people's lives, by protecting the right to keep and bear arms, by strengthening penalties for sex offenders and cutting nearly $1 billion from the state budget, while at the same time saving responsibly for the future. Keeping government out of the way is the key to success. I've worked hard. I'd like to continue to work hard for you all. I'm Tom Levnow. I'd appreciate your vote.
Well, I consider myself a few things. I'm a veteran, I'm a patriot, I'm a father, and I'm an American. The father thing, that kind of hits important right here. I look at the direction of where we're going, and it scares me for my children. And we all have the same children, if you want to think about it this way. The next generation of the people who's going to be running this country and has to deal with the repercussions of our actions is the generation that is literally all of our children at once. What are we going to leave them? Well, I only want to leave mine the best, as I want to leave all of yours. The only way to do that is fight, and fight aggressively. And that's what I plan to do. I plan on fighting the federal government. I plan on fighting for the state of Wyoming. I plan on fighting for our freedom and regaining many of the liberties that we lost. And there's no reason that we can't win. What we need is we need more, how should I put this? We need more people like you guys. If you guys showed up here today, that means that you care, which is great. We need more people like us, people with the screaming eagle in their eyes, or people with the patriotism that's deep down in their hearts. More people willing to serve their country, which every single candidate up here is willing to do. That is another great thing. But what we need is to take not small steps forward, but giant steps in order to regain that freedom, that liberty that we lost, in order to get us out of debt. Because we can, at a state level, through a long drawn-out plan, force the federal government to start revamping their policies. We can get this done with some certain, like I said, giant steps. But what we need to do is start fighting aggressively, and we need to start fighting now. My name is Nicholas DeLotte. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, basically everybody says I always harp on taxes, but I'll tell you what, in the next 2 years there's going to be an awful lot of important tax decisions throughout this state. So everybody better watch who they vote for, to make sure they vote right on all the tax issues, just not 2 or 3 of them. Because the taxes will affect your family, your kids, your grandkids. That is one reason, that's actually the main reason why I want to run and represent the Campbell County. And another thing is your eminent domain stuff. The federal government's trying to eminent domain this, eminent domain that. The eminent domain should only be enacted under strict circumstances. Property rights of this state, property owners should have say-so on that. So as far as the eminent domain, a person needs to fight the eminent domain all the way because it should only be used in very extreme circumstances. And as far as the state of Wyoming goes, I guess I love the way the state is. I love the traditional family styles which we have here. This isn't California, it isn't the East Coast. Political correctness, so, you know, this is Wyoming. That's what makes Wyoming a great state. That's why we get so many people moving in from out of state. I bet you a bunch of people in this audience is from out of state, and I bet you they're proud to be a Wyoming resident now. Wyoming is a great state, and we need to make sure it stays that way. That's why I'm running, and that's why I hope for your vote. My name's Merle McClure, and I'm hoping for your vote because there's a lot of important decisions that's going to be voted on in the next 2 years.
Action.
First of all, for those of you who've lived in Wright for a long time, I want to tell you a little story about my dad, who represented this district in Campbell County in the legislature for 16 years, long ago. And one of the first things that he ever did was, as a legislator, was before Wright was incorporated, you all had a problem because people were driving way too fast past the school. And at that point, the only entity that could set speed limits was the State Department of Transportation. And it was very difficult to get done. So one of the very first things that he did was pass a bill that allowed the county commissioners to set the speed limit and solve that problem. And the town of Wright threw a special dinner and invited him down and thanked him for doing that. And so when he knew I was coming down here, he said, be sure and tell those people how much I appreciated that and how much I appreciate the town of Wright. I like to think of myself as a champion for the agricultural, rural people, for the working people of this state. And I think that I have the experience and the connections, the ability to build coalitions around issues and around things that are important to all of us. I'm very accessible. You can find me always by email, almost always by phone. Call me up, tell me what you're worried about, tell me what you're concerned about, and I'll do the best that I possibly can for you if you give me the honor of electing me to be back in the state legislature. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Like Jeopardy tonight. Last night I was Vanna, tonight we're Jeopardy. So I would like to say thank you to these candidates for coming out and sharing your ideas and thoughts with us. You're free to go. I'll let you go now. Yeah, give them a hand.
Can I have some popcorn?
So next up, we're going to go ahead and do the county commissioners. In the meantime, I need to get a minute to get organized. So Dan, the popcorn man, is back there. He's got the popcorn going for you. There's cold bottles of water back there. If there's not enough on the table, they're in the cooler over there. Grab some, go to the bathroom, and